Hello, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Good Play Gaming Southeastern Asian Invitational Group Stage between Gigabyte Mineski and MVP Phoenix. These two teams clashing here in this two-game series, and Game 1 already in the books. I mean, yeah, Mineski kind of got trounced, so they put up a few good fights. They threw a few nice punches, but in the end, they're going to have to lick their wounds and try to figure out how to pull ahead in this next game here. They picked a very early game aggro lineup. They picked a carry Death Prophet, for crying out loud, and it was, you can see what they were trying to do with it. They were trying to make it so that Death Prophet, the Ember Spirit, didn't come online, because what a lot of the Koreans are used to is an environment where people don't know how to end the game early enough, or they only know how to end the game early, so you kind of just have to balance between that really early game and that really late game. And Mineski, they tried to exploit it, they tried to push it out, but in the end, MVP Phoenix not only win their lanes, they win the map as far as team fight control and board presence with their wards, but then they just kind of run through and take the game as a whole. So a very good showing from them. Mineski, they still have some work to prove. They're still going to pick up Batrider in Phase 1. I talked about, not necessarily at length, but I talked about a few of the issues the hero has now that 6.81b has come around. I would say that it's comparative, that he is a lot worse in this patch, but I mean, he's still a really good hero. He still brings a lot to the table, and we can see why Jesse Bass, yet again, wants to play this, pick him up, so we'll see here. Anyways, we're going to pick up the Doom along with that. It's a good counter pick to the Ember Spirit. It's going to provide some great long-duration silence, making it difficult for Ember Spirit to do anything but right-click, and if you know anything about the hero, it's that he doesn't just right-click. He is really reliant on his spells in order to move about, in order to really deal the damage, and of course to lock his opponents down. So we'll see if Ember Spirit can persist against him, or if he's going to be under too much pressure. Last time around, Forev picked up the Ember Spirit, and I've seen some really good Ember Spirit games from Forev, and I'll be honest, in this case here, we saw a really poor one. It was not necessarily his fault entirely. There was a lot of lockdown that was just gunning for him, instant hex blinks, and so on and so forth, but the bottom line is he did not perform all that well. He died a ton of times, and maybe that's in part because their wards were so offensive instead of defensive. Maybe he did overextend at one point, but no matter the case, I think they're looking to get a better game for him here, so they're going to kind of build up that foundation from the ground up. Anyways, they're going to pick up the Wraith King here, a very popular hero in the metagame for Korea as well. So we'll see him come into play. Just that good resolute stun, the setup disable for other things, and you can play him as a number 5 and number 1, somewhere in between. He really is one of those kind of quintessential heroes that can bring so much to the table with or without large quantities of farm. Anyways, beyond that, they're going to be banning out some major late game heroes. They expect that Mineski won a draft for themselves. They're going to ban out the Faceless Void. They already took out the Viper, who's really good for controlling heroes like the Wraith King, and yeah, the Ancient Apparition, which is pretty obligatory in at least the first 2 phases. Like, it doesn't have to be the first ban, but you can see exactly what the mindset was. The only thing that I'm going to comment on as far as, oh my gosh, they didn't pick that, is the aspect of Lycanthrope. Yes, Lycanthrope got worked a little bit with the Howl, and of course he earlier lost his HP from Shapeshift, and those 2 nerfs do definitely hurt him, but I still think he's a pretty high tier first pick for Dire. Not for Radiant. I mean, Radiant, you can take him or leave him. If the Howl works for the team, that's cool. But the bottom line is that early Roche potential is something that's invaluable for a Dire faction, and I do think that's something that maybe Mineski needs to add to their repertoire. But they're still kind of in a flux right now. They're trying to get their roster figured out post TI4 quali, and we do look at it here. It's going to be Jay capping it up alongside the more familiar members, Jesse Bash and NMA. A lot of you guys remember him as ZSXC. But he also had a name before that. He changed his name a lot. But anyways, those 3 are the core members of Mineski that are playing here, and now they have 2 stand-ins. Maybe potential long-term fill-ins, we'll see, depending on how the fate of the team fares, as there are so many shuffles and roster issues post TI4 quali. Anyways, the Shadow Demon is going to come on through here. It looks to be a core Doom, like in a carry role, and that means the Shadow Demon could set him up pretty well. They can kind of follow through with a Hillbear Smasher's Thunderclap or a Centaur Conqueror's War Stomp, no matter whichever he devours. So you disrupt, then you get your stomp down, and then you go ahead and make use of your large amount of right-click damage and Scorched Earth damage over time. So that's going to be the combo you're kind of looking for there. Beyond that, just Shadow Demon is a great support to have in general. Like, you can kite people, you can control things, you can dodge stuns, you can, after they've been hit by stuns, disrupt them so they can't be damaged in any other capacity, and of course it is something that you don't want to face as a Batrider, so by banning out the Death Prophet and the OD, which are heroes that they expected MVP Phoenix to be looking into as far as mid-rolls, they want to go ahead and reinforce their support. So Shadow Demon, Sand King, the great combo, and if the Batrider gets some good initiations here on the Shadow Fiend or on the Ember Spirit, there's going to be a lot of problems for MVP Phoenix. That said, we saw some great Rubik from Raisin today, as well as in the past throughout the qualifiers, and I expect him to be playing that once again with a lot of potential. Like I'm not going to call him the Karaki of Rubik, or the SEA variation of that, but I'm going to say that he's the damn good Rubik, and it is very well worth the pick here. So they've got some good targeted stuns, they've got some good disables, they've got a good ganking Roman combo, and they have a hell of a lot of good spells to steal. You get the Doom, you steal the Lasso, you maybe take a Disruption or a Burrow Strike, you've got a lot to work with. So we'll see what he can manage. But in the meantime, that's going to create space for them to play the Shadow Fiend. I believe, it's going to be mid Shadow Fiend played by QO, and that will give him the opportunity to farm out the stacked Radiant camps and try to control his general position in the mid lane as effectively as possible, and that requires Mineski to roam. Mineski wants to farm the Sand King's Blink, but if they don't get the time to do that because they're so pressed to kill the Shadow Fiend over and over and over again, then obviously that's not going to be ideal. So we'll see exactly where the prioritized lie for Mineski and their supports, but for now, I believe they're going to be looking for a solo mid. If not, then they're looking for a carry. Jay played a lot of... He actually has a pretty wide hero pool recently. I mean, if you probably look at his last dozen games, there's probably going to be only a couple of repeats here and there. He's very versatile. He has a lot of potential, and I was going to talk about how he can go for some late game stayability. Like, he can farm crazy well, he can push crazy well, and he really does have a great sense of decision making when it comes to that hyper late game status. So he's going to go for the Morphling here, a great hero for Jay, and that will leave the Doom to be picked up by someone else. Anyways, maybe Doom goes in the mid lane because he's better to gank with, and then Morphling can go for the safe lane farm. Right now, MVP Phoenix don't have a dedicated off lane hero, so if they ban out the Darkseer, which they have, the MVP Phoenix have some lesser options. Like, we used to see the Bounty Hunter a lot, and he did get a recent buff, and that's worth mentioning, but I still don't think that's going to be what they're looking for. They're probably just going to pick up something like a Centaur, which, although his actual numbers are actually looking pretty bad, like, he has an extremely low win rate because of something that some people refer to as pick rot, where they get picked based on how they used to perform, compared not so much about how they currently perform. Yeah. I'd see the Tide Hunter being really good too, because it does force BKBs on opponents, and that causes a lot of grief as well. So I could definitely see March doing really well on that offlane Tide. I like that pick, actually. Anyways, just a quick disclaimer here, for those that didn't hear me at the end of the last game. I'm actually quite exhausted. Just personally, I've been casting Chinese Dota since like 1 o'clock in the morning. I got up a little bit before that and didn't get a full night's of rest because how unpredictable the scheduling is right now. So it is a little bit rough on me, but I'm going to do the best I can here in this solo cast, and hopefully you guys will bear with me for the duration. I'll do the best I can to bring the hype. These two teams, they don't make it difficult. They bring some amazing Dota back and forth, and it's very fun to watch. Anyways, without further ado, thank you guys for tuning in to Beyond the Summit once again, and let's get into this game here. It's MVP Phoenix versus Mineski, game number 2 here in the group stage of the GoodPlayGaming Southeastern Asian Invitational. Looking over the side of MVP, we're going to be seeing March run on the Tide Hunter here. Just a Stout Shield Tango first. It's going to be a support Wraith King played by Heen. Already getting those wards up and at him, and plenty of mana with those clarities. It's going to be 2 Tangos pulled to the Shadow Fiend QO. He's going to go for a Bottle Rush pretty early on. He's going to be looking to stalk onto Morphling, but Jay's going to have none of that. Actually, 285 MS, Brute's first reason. I think he's going to get him. Telekinesis is going to come out, and Shadow Fiend's going to have to disrupt it. So this is going to be actually a very awkward position because he went for the Morph first. They got the Searing Chains. They're going to get a kill. Let's see who it is. Strength morphing away. Jay tries to survive, but it's not going to be enough. He will be the first blood of QO, and that is not looking good. In fact, he went Necromastery. Oh, that's huge. That is absolutely huge. So they get another stun following through onto Sand King. Burrow Strike or not, he hits a 4-man Burrow Strike. Unfortunately, only to watch them last hit him in the face. So the Boots First Reason paying huge dividends there. And I'm freaking out about the Shadow Fiend because he starts off with 12 souls. The biggest problem with landing a Shadow Fiend is that he takes some time to build up his souls. He has to get last hits, he has to get denies in order to build up that right-click damage, which is normally very low. You normally only have 40 base damage. So it's hard to get those last hits, especially against a Doom who devours the creeps offensively and prevents almost any denies. But QO, getting the first blood, gets all those souls from the hero kill. He starts off with a haste rune and plus 24 damage. He doesn't even have to care about last hitting nearly as much because he just started off with a 400 gold boost to build up that bottle and boots really, really early. He will, however, take a tower shot, but with that haste, he's almost just playing around with Jesse Vash. And meanwhile, we're going to see a lot more action up top. Jay, of course, taking a pretty big hit as he has to morph back down to Agi and go back to the lane. We're going to see, however, Reason in an interesting spot here. He goes for the telekinesis. He knows Sand King doesn't have Sandstorm, so they follow it up with stun, get the gush off, and get the kill. But now they will have to kind of fall back and get some clarities up. In fact, without any clarities, we might be seeing some people go and retreat. Reason has one, probably put it on March in a moment, but for now we're seeing a very unorthodox laning setup. Forev is actually going for the safe lane. Oh, okay, if they had mana, I think they would have gone on Morph again, though he does have level 2 now and the waveform is available. But anyways, yeah, it's kind of unorthodox because I kind of thought that, of course, the Tidehunter would be solo. It's so nice to get that early level 6 up on him, but as long as you're playing him in a core sense, which obviously they are, giving him the most CS in the lane, and trying to set him up for some kills. Ooh, Wraith King, he in a little bit of trouble, but it looks like he's got that magic stick, so he'll be okay. Kind of juking out the stun. He knows there's going to be potential waveform dodges, or at least the strength morph to survive. They're just going to telekinesis it to start off, and actually trying to go for a waveform here. This might be a pretty big mistake. Jay's going to certainly take the nuke to the face from that Wraithfire Blast, but now the Burst Shark comes out onto March. No points of Kraken Shell, but the waveform misses. It's purely defensive, and they won't be actually able to get any kills here. So a little bit of back and forth, but it looks like nobody's going to fall. Invisor going to be picked up by Reason, but no spells left. So the only way that Reason actually contributes to this is if Shadow Fiend literally walks over and hands him some bottle charges, which he doesn't even have any. So they cover the rune, they get QO off to a great start here in the lane, but beyond that, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Actually breaks his own Invis to give the bottle charge to Wraith King here. So purely a fill-up, just a little bit of a pit stop there from the top spawn before going back for that flank to gank. 2 versus 3 here. Heen and Raisin are in a weird little spot, but they'll go for the Wraithfire Blast and they connect with it. Telekinesis as well as the damage going to be enough though. Disruption comes through and Heen cannot close the distance by himself. He does have the Wraithfire Blast soon. It's going to be the Gush to get the kill, and now he has enough mana to Magic Stick back up a Wraithfire Blast, but first it's going to be Jay to take down the first kill on the board for Mineski. They will, however, stun out Arcsile and he's going down. So now Jay in a weird little spot. He has Magic Stick. He should be able to wave out, but doesn't want to do it if he doesn't have to. So in this position, he finally gets a kill on the board. He gets 218 gold against Raisin, but they're just losing so much in this lane. You just look at the raw experience per minute, and you see the tri-lane heroes at level 4. It's kind of weird to have the Tidehunter have that much of an advantage despite splitting the experience 3 ways, but that's just how it goes when you get that kind of kill advantage. Now flank to gank to try to pin down the... Oh, okay, sorry about that. Batrider going to get picked off here. Did not notice that 1v1. It's hard to keep track of all these little things, but yeah, we are going to be seeing Batrider get picked off here. He just got a little bit too big for his britches, and the Searing Chains plus the immolation effect of that Flame Guard was sufficient. Now Morphling in a bad spot, has the waveform, but uses it too slowly. He should have immediately gone here, but didn't see his opponent coming. As if you look at Dire Vision, they've got very limited understanding of people rotating from this angle. Dire Observer Ward providing vision out to here, and that's about it. Down in bottom lane, it's going to be Batrider to bottle up a double damage rune instead of the Shadow Fiend, which is pretty good for them, but in the worst case, KO just has to go for a quick bottle crow. While the Batrider tries to farm with the jungle, I want to keep an eye on how quickly that farm comes through, but we got action, so we're going to follow that. So Soul Catcher plus Burst Shark, but look at Arcstyle's positioning. He's dying to tower. Oh, this Sand King is not performing at the level he needs to in order to take it. A game off of one of the best teams in the Southeastern Asian scene. March, limited on his mana pool because he doesn't have Arcanes, doesn't have Magic Stick, but he's still standing and delivering, going for Anchor Smashes left and right, and he will be able to get a lot of damage here on the Shadow Demon, but will it be enough? The last right click goes through. March with a very slow but effective killing blow. And Raisin comes in for the flank to gank. If Jay oversteps his bounds, he's going to get picked, but luckily he has this Observer Ward and knows exactly where Raisin is located. Yeah, so the Batrider he did farm out those camps effectively enough with the napalm. It did cost him a bit more mana than usual, but he'll get there. And now he picks up that double damage rune, so he does have enough to sustain on the lane here, even up against Ember Spirit, who's gone for the max Flame Guard. Flame Guard's really good here. I don't know. I'm not sure about the build between Searing Chains and Sleight of Fist. I guess it's a matter of preference. So if you're afraid of them being in close proximity, doubling up the duration of Searing Chains is a pretty big deal. But either way, the Flame Guard max, I definitely think that's the right call because of all this magic burst damage they're looking to put out on him. So it's gonna prevent those deaths that we saw so frequently in Game 1, and with that, Forev can kind of move forward with a lot of gold momentum into that early Battle Fury. Shadow Demon rotates in to get some experience for himself, knows he can't contribute to the team enough at level 2, and they essentially, his job so far has been die, go back to the lane, die, go back to the lane. He's 0-2-1, and although he was able to contribute to one of the kills, I don't think he got experience for it, so he definitely needed this kind of rotation. This leaves Doom to jungle up for a brief moment. He'll pick up a Centaur Conqueror, and it looks to be going towards a Hand of Midas. We're going to see a cross pass with the Sentry Ward down. Arcstyle is going to clear out the Observer Ward and then scout out Raisin with this Invis. So Jay, waveform on cooldown, actually going to get caught out here. He's going to have to Strength Morph pretty hard, but is it going to be enough? Yes, Magic Wand, waveform, they've got it. They will get out, but here's Heen to meet him halfway, and he's going to get gushed again. The Ravage is committed, and they're going to get 2 for this. They gush onto Jay. He's trying to live, but he doesn't have enough, and with one more Anchor Smash, that's another kill, but Arcstyle tries to juke for a short time. He will be put down, though, by the Fade Bolt. And in the meantime, on the bottom lane, it's going to be Forev to drop a Remnant down, actually in a very ballsy position, but then he TPs back and comes back with, I was going to say full HP, but if you look at it, he took a pretty hefty hit from the tower. Now Disruption comes out here onto the mid lane. Shadow Fiend, though, trying to trade hits. He has this amazing raise damage, and he's going to kill one at least. He gets the Shadow Demon. Can he bottle through the rest? Oh, no, he doesn't use his bottle hardly at all. He did get one sip off, but it wasn't enough for that last auto attack. So Jesse Vash walks away. He gets that big solo kill. I mean, you look at his experience per minute, it's still deprived quite a bit because he left lane, but even still, he just killed the level 8 and got the solo experience. So can't complain too much, even though Shadow Demon is having a really rough time of things. Speaking of, he's going for that 1-1-1 build, going to drop it down onto March here, who's essentially out of mana, and they might be able to burst down Wraith King, but he just pops Reincarnate, and he's back in the fight. The Anchor Smash plus all these slows, there's nothing to be done, and Arcstyle, for some reason, breaks his own Invis, so he's going to be stunned out, he's going to fall, and that's on top of that the Tier 1 tower kill. So dominating spree for March, this Tidehunter. It is going to be Jay to clean up, but they've got stuns. They have everything they need, and look how squishy he is with this agility morphed up as high as can be. He has a bottle himself. Maybe he can get enough mana to wave away, but he's in a bad spot, and stun number 2 comes through. He is tanky as all get out, but he now no longer has much armor, and the Ring of Protection can only do so much. These last hits coming through, but it looks like it's just enough. The last right clicks won't actually finish him off, and instead, he's going to be able to get away, but is it really a victory when you're just kind of meandering back to base, have to morph all your agility back, bottle up, and then go back out to the lane that is now being completely contested? Your jungle's not safe, your top lane's brought down, and you just don't feel good about anything in this game right now. They don't have a foothold. 14 for 3. MVP are just dominating. Over 6,000 gold in their advantage. We also see pretty close numbers on the experience. Looks like the Shadowed Fiend is going to pick up a Midas of his own, and Doom has only just really started to use it. He used his first cooldown 60 seconds ago, and while a 7.5 minute Midas is not bad, it's not going to put them back into the driver's seat of this game for some time. So they're going to try to make something happen here, a 4-man movement, and maybe that'll work out for them, but without the Blink Dagger, without the Battle Rider even participating at all, it's going to be hard. Ancient stacking coming through here. The Shadow Fiend and the Tidehunter are both capable of farming this to some extent here. But QO is just focusing on the neutral camps, the ones he can affect with his Shadow Raises, and he has his Midas already up and at him. Now, they don't really know about this Bat Rider, who is farming like crazy in the Radiant Jungle, stacking up the camps, in fact, just to make sure of it, but maybe they can prevent his BKB nevertheless, or why did I say BKB? Blink Dagger nevertheless. Like, he's still 150 gold off from it. They're going to try to pincer him for Rev. One thing that can happen here, though, is if they go in for the last one for Rev and they get it, they can just haste him under the tower, and they can doom him under the tower. So we'll have to look at the Bat's positioning. Has Firefly coming up in just a couple seconds, but he is seen by the creep wave, and that's not going to happen. In the meantime, however, March is farming up on those Ancients. Anchor Smash now affecting them with that physical damage output, and he just gets a huge boon of golden experience. Not only does he have Arcane Smack, but he's going to have his Blink Dagger in just a few minutes' time. Comparing that to the other would-be offlane, the Batrider, who's just not having it. So net worth topping out. It's going to be the Shadow Fiend to start, doing some really good work with those Radiant stacks and that Midas on top. Curious what item progression he'll go into, though. I mean, the BKB would be nice against heroes like Morphling and Sand King, but it is kind of wasted against heroes like Bat and Doom, as well as to some small extent the Shadow Demon. We're going to see maybe action break loose here. They're going to try to push onto this last tier 1, but the Doom already comes out, and March is just going to back off of that. It doesn't do enough damage by itself. They are going to try to pull somebody back, but I don't see it happening. The haste is not there. The disruption actually comes through, and they just turn it around with this Requiem to force them back. They're not looking to win the fight. They're just trying to hold it, and now the mech comes out. What was that? Jay, so desperate for a kill onto the Tidehunter, but at the last moment, he loses the Doom effect. He gets to mech. They jump in. They take 3. They take the Courier as well, and they steal. Don't tell me they stole Doom. Okay, if they stole Doom, that would be the most outrageous fight of MVP's life, but instead, it's just going to be Jay throwing in. He goes and really wanted that kill on Tidehunter. He got the auto attack, he got the waveform, but he just was like 50 damage shy of bringing down March. So as soon as March's Doom ends, he mechs, he magic sticks, and the turnaround begins. So they just run over their opponents there, 17-3, Courier down. And now looking at Forev pursuing onto Morphling. Sleight of Fist Searing Chains connects, and Morphling without levels. Oh, he does have level 6, but not a replicant. So he's going down. And a Strength Morph Steel. Look at this HP go up. He's taking all of his agility, which he gets from passively from that mech aura to some extent, the armor anyways. Or no, it's actually from the mech active. But anyways, he turns all of his agility right back into strength, and now he's floating 1200 raw HP. You try to pin that down with like an epicenter or something, it's not happening. Speaking of the fact that Arcstyle is currently sitting level 3, and you've got bad news bears. You certainly do. Now they're pushing in on the tier 2. The Reincarnate back up. Ravage as well. How do you fight this? Like, how do you fight this? It's just, it seems like it's too much. Tier 2 is certainly going to fall. Batrider, he gets his blink, but not much on top of that. Another thing to note is that the Courier, when it did fall, Lieutenant Squawkins leaves the bottle and the Mithril Hammer behind. So that's... Oh, no, that's the wrong team. Okay, that doesn't make sense at all. Yeah, the ground Courier. I knew it was ground. That's what kind of confused me. But anyways, the little donkey, it doesn't have anything on him, but still going to be down in the ground for 30 seconds. Anyways, they're going to push into the tier 3. They're going to take the racks. Is there anything that can stop them right now? No. They just say, like, okay, literally, we cannot kill anyone. If we try it, we're just going to fail. And for once, we actually get Mineski to concede. Usually the Pinoy Dota fans, they're happy to see them fight to the bitter end. But in this case here, they've had enough. Waving the white flag at 13 minutes. MVP just put on a clinic here. Absolutely insane. They actually canceled the GG. That's how you do it. You call the GG, but you cancel the countdown timer, so it doesn't actually break your Ancient. So they're going to have to actually fight in to the base here. They pop the Ravage inside, and March is actually tanking through it heftily with this Kraken Chill. So they're going to be able to bring down 2. They just are diving the fountain at this point. They even got a ward in place to continue doing it if Mineski continue to try to fight them. So they've taken 1 lane of racks. They defend their tower. They're looking for the full shutout here, essentially. They have all their tier 1s up. They've only lost 3 lives, and they pretty much have everything they wanted in this game happen. And it was an honorable attempt from Mineski to try to pull it back, but it's just too much. I mean, in this position here, they just got gunned down so effectively in that early stage. The first 5 minutes were so defining and about how this game proceeded. Shadow Fiend with that many souls to start is absolutely absurd, and the aspect of getting the 2-kill advantage outright just allowed them to keep running their opponents down. Add to that the fact that Mineski didn't really have that great of early fight potential, and they didn't really stand a chance. Sand King, is he still level 3? Oh my gosh. Now we see the telekinesis up on the Doom. He's in a bad spot. Won't even get his ulti off. And, yeah, they're just going to be able to bring him down. Just a hollow puppet. They just clobber him. Still, they don't have creep waves to tank it. It's going to be Heen to take most of the brunt force here. Now March is in the action with this mechanism, so they can be a little bit more durable. They'll use the disruption illusions to bring down the tier 3, and with that, they should seal out the game. But not before they pick up a nice kill or two. Looking for the finisher here. They steal Morph again, because, you know, why not? But anyways, Morphling is going to be pursued to the bitter end, and going to have to wait for him into the trees to TP. There we go. But in the meantime, Shadow Demon's the sacrifice to be made. And actually, they telekinesis in. He has a Blink Dagger Raisin with a Blink TK. And they actually kill off Jay as well. Now the GG. I don't think they'll cancel this one. That is the full concede from Mineski. They tried their best, but there is no coming back from this. And you just look at it. I mean, the net worth chart tells the story. They're 4 heroes on top of the other 6, all on the side of Phoenix. Massive gains. And a very clear-cut win. And still the Ancient isn't falling. Anyways. So, yeah, they're just farming the fountain until they actually let the concede vote go through. The timer has yet to count down. They really refuse to actually let that timer proceed as it's intended to. But, yeah, they're just going to fountain dive. They're going to have some fun with the reincarnate. But, oh, poor Sand King. He gets 3-shot. He just wanted some XP. Give him the level 13 kill and give him like 5 levels instantly. But, oh, somebody's going to get that experience boost. I think the Shadow Demon just got that. Yeah, Shadow Demon just jumped up to almost level 7 there. Big kills for him. Arcstyle respawns at level 3. The poor man SK. 2 SKs walk in, 1 walks out. The only king that matters, though now a Wraith. This is just clowny now. Please end it. Pulling people into the fountain. They're saying, what the hell? I don't think they've seen this before. This is dishonorable Dota. I don't even know. But they're like, you're calling GG while you're pulling us into fountain. I don't think that's how it works, guys. Like, what the hell? But they do have the Doom out on Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend dies again. Like, he bought back. Is this the comeback? Is this the super fake GG comeback? No. I think not. And it's just probably one person on the side of Mineski canceling it every time. As a matter of fact, I'm betting they're trolling so hard that they wait for it to count down to like 2 seconds or 1 second, and then they cancel it at the last moment, and it's just silly. ASD, NMA, the last member here, also known as the Shadow Demon, keeps canceling it, keeps fighting. He will keep the fight alive. They will fight them on the hills, on the mountaintops. They will fight them beyond the summit. But no, we see them doing the best they can. They're still gonna lose out, and the kill count just gets more and more harsh as time goes by. Raisin, he still has that lasso stolen. He used it once, but not sure if he'll actually get away with that one. Jay wants some blood. He's going to go for it. Well, the game is still on. He says, might as well. He jumps in. He's like, wait, don't. Friends. Wait, please. Pacifism. But no friendship here. Only bloodshed. Okay, so let's end. Is the call here. First, you got to kill the Doom, slay the demon, the leader of the Dire, and you'll get a moral victory at the very least. But yeah, they're saying just let's throw in it, let's end it, and indeed they shall. It's not gonna work, guys. If one guy's insistent on canceling, they're gonna cancel it. I don't know how many times I've called GG at this point. They just keep stacking it up. But yeah, there you go. MVP take it. This 2-game series, 2-0 in their favor. And what was a 13-minute win is now a 19-minute win just because of these shenanigans. Oh my goodness. Crits, crits, crits. Looking for crits. Heen's not going to get it here. And instead, it's going to be Forev to deliver the killing blow. Oh, this is clowny as I'll get out. I don't even know what to say anymore. More blood for blood gods. More kills. More easy rares for the viewers in Dota TV. They're just getting racks of multi-kill. Raisin with the Doom on top of him. I don't think he gets out of this one. The mechanism active, though. Oh, he just denies him. He had the full potential to mech his buddy. But no, he says, screw it. You're going down. Allied Hero denial rares. Easy game. Now we're going to see QO drop down another. I'm not going to bother. At this point, I'm just going to... We're going to look over here. There's lassos and shit, but... the throne pops. That's going to be the game. As hilarious as that last little bit was, the 13-minute victory becomes a 19.5, and I just get to ramble on for 6.5 minutes. But anyways, it's going to be a 39-11 kill count in the end. MVP getting some fantasy league points. If I guess you can't do it for guys that aren't in the international, but no matter what, yeah, they're there, and they show some chops. I mean, they take 2-0. They played some really good games, and this one was so much cleaner than the last one, really edging out their opponents and cleaning up where the last issues lied. In the meantime, Shiva's guard was almost completed by Shadow Demon, and you can say the same for his Dagon and for Staff. But yeah, that's going to be it here, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here to Beyond the Summit for the Good Play Gaming Southeastern Asian Invitational Group Stage. This is Group A. And that, or actually, no, it might not be Group A anymore. No, it is Mineski, so it is Group A, because they played yesterday in Group A. So, yeah, this is going to be the last one of this best of 2, but we are going to be going into another match in a short time frame. It is scheduled for a little bit later. I would have to look up in full when it's going to be, but for now, rest assured, it is going to be forthcoming. Though, because this one ended so quickly, we've got a little bit of time on our hands. So, I'd estimate maybe 45 minutes into the next one, but I'm looking it up as we speak. So until then, thank you guys so much for tuning in here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the games, enjoyed the commentary. Shout out to MVP Phoenix for being good sports and getting your first big dose of Pinoy Dota, Mineski style. But other than that, yeah, a pretty resounding victory and a nice little match to cast. Once again, I am Blaze. Happy to bring you guys this game here on Beyond the Summit. Now, I have been casting for some time, so maybe the hype isn't there, but the fun hopefully is, and I certainly enjoyed this game, and hopefully you did as well. If you did enjoy the commentaries in particular, and you want to look me up on social media to follow me and to hear more from me in the future, look no further than twitter.com/blazecasting, and you can always also use that as a way to constructively criticize me. If you loved it, if you hated it, whatever, just let me know what I can do to improve, and I will be happy to do my best to bring you guys the best I can as a caster within the Southeastern Asian games or around the world. But until then, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in... I really do want to get that last schedule in before we close it out, but I'm looking at results instead of matches. It's hard to multitask all this stuff. Yeah, it's going to be in 15 minutes, actually. Scheduled, okay. Differently than I expected it to. But yeah, we're going to be seeing this game come up very soon. So in just 15 minutes time, that's what we're looking at here. Good Play Gaming's Zero Latitude versus Invasion, and that's just going to be at the top of the hour. So thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you guys in just a little bit for that match forthcoming.